Welcome class to our basic science subjects for today. I told you when we started this topic first that it will take us the whole of your third term GSS 1 block. We are taking part 4 of us. And in our class for today we are covering 3 major areas, which are the meaning of friction. So we are basing today's class on friction, uses of friction, and then advantages and disadvantages of friction. So when we hear about friction, what comes to our mind? Two surfaces coming together. And we can equally say these two surfaces come in close contact to cause friction. An object cannot cause a friction. Two objects have to come together for friction to happen. For example, if I rub this hand against this other hand, the process of my rubbing both hands together causes friction, because continuous rubbing of the hand might cause my hands to sweat, and I will feel that the two of them are clashing together. This is friction, fusing two objects together, coming together of two objects together to cause friction. So in a simple term, friction, this is resistance that one surface or object encounters when moving over another. Resistance that one surface or object encounters when moving over another. I am slipping off the ties. The encounter of my feet, my leg, to the floor. And then, what is that is encountered? I slip off, because I'm moving on a surface that is slippery. Now, let me give you an experiment. If I am going to slip off a floor that is not tied, that is not smooth in surface, let's say a wooden surface, the encounter I'm going to get there, is going to be slower, because this is less frictious. The friction happening here is less. But the encounter I'm going to see on that wooden surface is going to be more, because it's going to go slower. So, friction means the resistance that one surface or object encounters while passing over another. This is me, my feet, the object, the surface of the floor, another object, passing through it, the encounter you feel. This is my hand, this is another of my hand. The encounter they have, rubbing through each other. That's friction. Now, we have seen what friction is. I'm going to give you an assignment. On a table, bring two wooden objects that are 5 meters and weighs 0.5 kg. Use a rope to tie and move the first 0.5 kg wood across a surface, and see the force you're going to apply. Then add another wood of that same 0.5 kg, which of course now it becomes 1 kg, and move it and see the force you're going to apply, and see the rate is going to slip off the surface of a table. That's your assignment. And then you will see the force applied. If you use a scale to measure it, you will see that the force you apply for the first 0.5 will not be the same force you apply when you are pushing out a 1 kg wooden weight. And so the encounter you face when you are moving on a slippery ground is not the same when you are moving on a rough edge. Have you slipped off on a surface ground with a high heel shoe? You see that the encounter there is slippery because the shoe has no, there is no, a kind of less friction to push you a little bit backward, but it will move smoothly because the toe of your feet, your shoe, the surface of your shoe is smooth, and the surface ground you are slipping on is smooth, so you are moving fast. But if it's a shoe that it doesn't have a rough edge, that have a rough edge, not a smooth edge, you will see that the friction you will feel will be less, because it has rough edges to hold you back. That's friction. Encounter with two objects. Okay? That is moving over another object. That is friction. What are the uses of friction, which is our number 2 objective? Let's see the uses of friction. It has many uses, but I'm summing up the uses into 3 ways: movement, sliding, and pushing. Friction causes movements. Friction causes movement. So when 2 meters move, it causes friction. Friction is used for sliding. Imagine a letter being slided into an envelope. That's sliding. Pushing. A lotion of cream that is pushed in to bring out the lotion substance. The pushing in. So sliding is used, friction is used for movement, for sliding, and for pushing. These are the uses. There are other uses you can think of. In our everyday life, we use this movement, we use this sliding, and we use this pushing. Now we'll go to the advantages and the disadvantages. Advantages of friction. Friction helps us to walk on the ground. Remember, we said it's an encounter with 2 objects, while the other objects pass through the other one. So because there is friction, we are able to walk on the ground. We can write. My ability to use the marker to write on the board is friction, because this is the marker passing through the whiteboard. What I'm doing now is friction. Without this, I cannot write. So friction helps us to write either on the whiteboard or on our paper, because the biro and the paper are 2 objects that encounter each other. Friction helps us to helps in stopping a vehicle on applying the brake. A vehicle can only stop when the brake is applied. So friction is what helps the brake to be applied. So without the brake being applied and without friction coming in, the car cannot stop. It helps in generating heat when we rub our hands. I told you previously when I was explaining friction, that process where my 2 hands are rubbing together and is producing heat, that is friction. Producing heat, rubbing together to produce heat. So friction helps us to generate heat. Objects can be piled up without slipping off, because they are in their rough edges and they are put together. Like I put up books together. For example, I put this book, I bring in another book and put it, I keep piling it, and I place it on a surface ground. Friction will make it not to slip off because they are having an encounter with the surface. The surface of this book is having an encounter with another surface, and the one placed on the ground is having an encounter with the ground. And so it keeps piling without it slipping off. If friction is not happening between these books piling up together, then it cannot pile up. That's friction. So these are the advantages of friction. Now let's see the disadvantage. Disadvantage of friction. 1. Produce a lot of heat in various parts of the machinery. If you are using machine, the heat that is produced as a result of friction is high, which can lead to depreciation of the machine. 2nd, opposed motion, hence have energy, hence move energy is needed to overcome friction. Opposing motion, that will lead to high energy that will be required. So for you to be able to overcome friction, it will require a lot from you. Noise production in machine. Have you seen where two metals are cracking together? The noise is irritating, and because it is irritating, you just get tired of hearing the noise and you feel like, let me go off it. That is as a result of friction. Then lots of effort and money is required to keep it lubricated. You put oil, you put grease, so that it will not produce noise. The friction, the heat coming out, and the harm it will do to the machine will not be much. And then friction causes fire outbreak in the forest. So these are the disadvantages of friction. We have seen the advantages and the disadvantage. We have equally seen the usage. We see movement, we see pushing, we see sliding, and we saw what friction is. That will be it in our class for today. Until I come your way next time, we will take part 5 of FOSS. Please continue following us on this series. If you've not watched the part 1, part 2, please go and watch it and follow and learn. Thank you for dropping by.